Comprising both the right and left sides of the championship round pair, Jackie Sellers and Dee Davidson will open up tonight's finals against Maria Lewis and Darris Street, a pair of newcomers searching for their first professional victories. Last year, Todd and Donna Adamek finished 7th in the doubles. This year, they have their sights set only on first. The talented twosome of Neidig and Wendy Macpherson captured more matches than any other team in the finals to nail down the runner-up position. While the 1990 winners of this event, Stacy Ryder and Anne-Marie Duggan, will be shooting for their second title in 3 tries here at Samstown. Welcome to Samstown Bowling Center, located in Las Vegas, Nevada. Hi, everybody. I'm Denny Schreiner, along with Leila Wagner. And Leila, this is the only tournament on the national tour where the ladies get a chance to bowl in a doubles competition. Is it an advantage for the pros to bowl all of their frames on just one lane?
Oh, you bet, Denny. If you can narrow your thoughts to just keep them down to a small amount, and that's exactly what you do. You only have to think about lining up on one lane. You can throw a lot more strikes.
Jackie Sellers and Dee Davidson have qualified number 5. An interesting team because it's a good right-hander and a good left-hander. You usually don't see them paired up together.
Well, no, you don't. And especially in this house, left-handers tend to do a little bit better than right-handers. And if I was a right-hander, which I am a right-hander, and needed a new partner, I'd pick a left-hander.
Maria Lewis and Darris Street, newcomers, part-time players on the national tour, a couple of very good left-handers that complement one another.
Well, they do complement one another, and for those national folks out there that do watch us on the West Coast, these players have won a title together. They are familiar with each other's game. Marie is a finesse player. Darris, on the other hand, a very physical player, so they do well together.
If I were going to look at a team that would make the final 5 before the tournament had even started, I would have chosen Todd and Donna Adamek. They were 7th last year.
Well, both players that really do dominate on the national level. They're always in the top 24. Donna, on the other hand, LPBT champion, looking to win more than 20 LPBT championships. Todd, another player trying to win her first title. I think she'll do that here this year, too.
All right, another lefty-righty combination is qualified number 2, Neidig, who won earlier this year, and a player who may be the best right-hander in this house, Wendy Macpherson.
Well, if I needed a new partner and wanted a right-handed player, Wendy Macpherson would be the one, Denny. She has won almost $50,000 in prize money here at Samstown. She feels very comfortable bowling here. It is her home now. She's got a lot of friends and a lot of family watching.
A talented twosome is on top of the stack this week. Stacy Ryder and Anne-Marie Duggan. They led this tournament 2 years ago and then shot .234 and captured the title. Can they win again tonight?
I would have to say, yes, they can win again tonight. These two players very strong together. They have a lot of fun. Their games complement one another. They're able to line each other up, and I think that's a big key to throwing a lot of strikes.
All right, sit back and enjoy this one. It's a doubles competition. It comes at you fast and furious. Opening match ready to start, featuring Jackie Sellers and Dee Davidson, along with Maria Lewis and Darris Street. All right. First 2 teams, interesting combination here. A couple of players that have not yet been in the championship round.
No, Denny, but both players did make the top 24 last year during our championship event held here in November. So they are also familiar with this house.
This goes to show you that the part-time pros can come out and make a telecast as well. And a beautiful shot.
Marie, the finesse player, as we mentioned in the opening, a very strong mental game.
Jackie Sellers winning earlier this year down in Ashland, Kentucky. One of the more consistent right-hand players on the LPBT tour.
She was funny. She had mentioned she had thoughts about possibly quitting the tour, as it seems that it has happened to other national members where they talk about quitting and then they up and win. So her sights have been redirected.
Change your attitude a little bit. Well, it does get frustrating. A 3-time collegiate All-America, 2-time collegiate player of the year came out, and it was almost 2 years before she won a title.
Well, that happens, Denny. There's so much talent out here that you could go for a real dry spell there and not win, and you just have to grind it out. It takes a toll on you.
Jackie was making plenty of finals, just wasn't getting to the championship round that often, and when she did, she just couldn't seem to break through, but she's done that now. Dee Davidson a little late getting up. Interesting format. It's quite a bit different, even in the players selecting what lanes they want to play on.
Well, it's very confusing, Denny, as we were talking about a little earlier. Not only do you have to try to figure out who's going to start and then who's going to finish, but what player you want to finish the match, possibly what player is your stronger player, if the pressure is applied to them in the 10th frame. So there's a lot to think about, and it can become confusing.
T.D. Davidson opens up with a powerful strike on lane 19. And now our first good look at Darris Street, a powerful left-hander from the state of California.
Darris, 24 years old, would like to come out full-time. She said, but I am married and I have a full-time job. I'm a loan processor for a mortgage company, and I would have to find a sponsor in order to do that.
Comes out, carries a Brooklyn hit. So if you're going to get a break, that's a good time to have it.
Especially in the opening match in your first frame, that gave the pair a double to start out, loosen them up a little bit. Very basic four-step delivery. Notice the ball in the third step, high in the backswing. Good player, good knee bend. Plays a lot on the West Coast.
Tremendous velocity for Darris Street, and then now you see how soft that Maria Lewis plays. It's a nice combination because no matter what the lanes are doing, one of the two of them are going to have some kind of a shot.
Well, it's funny, I asked them about their strengths. What do they feel that their strengths were? And they said, you know, neither of them missed very many spares, but they've opened up now with 3 strikes, and you don't miss too many spares when you're throwing the strikes.
And they lead by 20. Sellers and Davidson on a strike. Jackie Sellers trying to double to get back to within 10. And that one's right through the nose.
A little soft there by Jackie Sellers. Lane's a little tricky. They're playing right in the track area between the second and third arrow, sometimes a little bit deeper throughout the house. You had the out of bounds right of the second arrow. I think the more ball speed, the better off you're going to be. If you look at players like Anne-Marie Duggan or Stacy Ryder, also quite a bit of ball speed. Wendy Macpherson has been known to be able to throw the ball pretty hard.
In a doubles competition, it's vitally important for one of the players to get locked in so you have a chance for that double each and every time. Let's see if Didi can strike again here on the left-hand lane. Trying to pump the team up. And wow, 7-pin was the last to leave, and Didi Davidson with another strike.
Also, Denny, you notice the players smiling and loosening up and high fives, and this really helps, especially when you're going for that first title. And I think this is good for Maria and Darris because neither one of these players have been on television. It has to ease some of those nerves a little bit to have someone down there with you.
Well, they were solid all week long. Excellent shot. Out goes the 6-pin, a 4-bagger. And I had a chance to talk to Darris about a lack of sleep last night here in Las Vegas.
Yesterday, and I didn't sleep too good because I didn't know what to expect today. So I'm ready for today, though.
Maria, how about you? Did you sleep well?
I had no problem sleeping last night. Darris, she had a little problem. She had a bad day, like she said, and it's the only time I let her think is at night when we're done bowling. So she probably spent most of the night thinking.
What about this team? The newcomers come out, start with a solid 4-bagger and then a solid 7-pin. Stops the string.
Beautiful shot there, Denny. Ring and 7-pin. I have to laugh at Marie's comment. She told me earlier, too, I can't let Darris think. She just has to get up there and throw the ball. The less she thinks, the better off we are.
Well, Darris was the anchor on the team, so that lets you know who they think is the stronger player in the clutch.
Maria with her husband on hand here. Also has 2 kids, Marissa and Robbie, and she wanted to say hi to them at home.
Takes out the 7-pin, and it's a 29-pin advantage for Lewis and Street. Now let's see once again if Jackie Sellers can double and cut into that advantage. I would think this would be a critical shot, wouldn't you?
Definitely. Going in the 5th frame, only half a game left. The other team so far ahead of you at this point. It's critical for Jackie to get something going.
Wants it to hold pocket, and it doesn't, and a major disaster for Jackie Sellers.
The ball breaking right in the last 5 feet. Very, very hard. She's playing very deep there around the third arrow. You can see it snap. It's a 7-10. I mentioned, Denny, the left-handers have a tendency to have a bit of advantage in this house, and so far all we've seen from left-handers have been strikes, except for that solid 7 by Lewis. And Jackie Sellers, on the other hand, the only right-hander, has thrown 2 spares and a split.
So after the open in the 5th, Didi Davidson and her partner Jackie Sellers trailing by a bundle. It'll be tough to come back down by 41. Three shots and 3 strikes for Double D. It's a 41-pin lead for the rookies out here in the national doubles. And when we come back, we'll finish up match number 1 from Samstown in Las Vegas. Maria Lewis in a position now to start to put away Jackie Sellers and Didi Davidson here.
Well, it's got to be getting easier for this pair right now, too, after your first match. A little conflict, and I told you it seemed to be a little confusing. Maria's not up. Now, wait a minute.
Happens every year. They look over at Wes Pye, the national tournament director, and he says, "That's right, Darris, you're up on the right-hand lane." Maria gets a good laugh. Well, she was ready to go.
She was ready. You have to look at the scoreboard. Wes is showing him, look over here. Well, normally it is the fact that the player that gets up on the left side in a singles match is the one who's going to get up and bowl. So for those people at home, oh my.
Major league break for Darris Street. High fives all around, and the youngsters right now doing a nice job.
Well, a little confusion there on the start, but once she got started, pulled it a little high, almost up the big 4, but watch this pin action here. Trips out the 4 and the 10 at the last minute. She's shaking her head, but watch this. You bet.
Went from big 4 to a strike. That's not easy to do. And then her partner comes back and hits the pocket. I was impressed in watching this pair play in the final 6 games. Maria does one thing well. She hits the pocket frequently. Doesn't get into a lot of trouble.
And if you're hitting the pocket, you're not leaving a lot of pins to shoot at for those spares, so that makes their spare shooting that much stronger.
By and large, the scoring this week was moderate, so 200 games were excellent games in match play. And the first error, unforced error by the team of Lewis and Street, and there's a glimmer of hope.
Might not be too detrimental right now, but 29 pins with this 2 players. If Jackie Sellers could possibly get one more right here, and then Didi steps up.
It's a 9-pin match.
9-pin match.
Shot of the week. And Jackie Sellers responds to the pressure. And Didi Davidson had something to say about this twosome getting a chance to bowl next year at Samstown.
Well, let me tell you, Denny, we've discussed this yesterday, and I'll tell you right now that we have a chance of winning this today, and we want to bowl next year because we bowl great together. We're here 2 out of 3 times, and I think this is it right here. We want to bowl again next year.
The reason why they aren't allowed to bowl next year is because Jackie won her first title earlier this year, and only the defending champions can come back. This is a 9-pin match. This is not over.
Now the pressure swings back on Lewis and Street. They have been in the lead since the very first second frame.
Welcome to the big leagues. Darris Street has to step up now and throw a shot in the 8th. What a turnaround. They were down by 41 just 3 frames ago.
And Maria's just thinking about that 7-pin she happened to just miss. A little bit fast here, timing, a little bit too much adrenaline.
Well, one thing is for sure, Darris is off into the races. Of course, that's one of the reasons why she creates so much velocity.
That's right. She's definitely the power player. She's quick with her feet, but a little bit too fast here, or actually her ball was not in time with her footwork.
Lucky to leave just the 3-pin. Should be an easy spare. But Sellers and Davidson are on a 3-bagger.
Don't want to give anything away.
How many times do you see it out here where a player misses a single pin spare and all of a sudden the opponent comes up and whack, whack, it's a double?
Well, it's new life, Denny, to that new team. You know, like you mentioned, they were down by 41 pins at one point.
They've strung together 3 consecutive strikes. If they take it off the sheet, they're winners. Maria Lewis trying to get back on track. And, well, you could probably appreciate that shot more than anybody else, how tough it is to come back from a mistake.
Well, she hasn't missed the pocket yet, Denny, and she just dices the rack here. This is a beautiful shot. The 9th frame, her setup frame, she needed this one. She performed beautifully under that type of pressure.
What a first match. If both teams strike out, it would be 238, 237. Jackie Sellers trying to keep the string alive. Gave it plenty of room. Will it get back in time? No. And she leaves the 2-4-5.
Also something else, Jackie Sellers had more ball speed, Denny, right there. Almost could have made it back if she wouldn't have given it quite so much room. That was the problem with her in the first couple frames. She was not keeping her velocity up.
Spare here and 3 strikes would give Sellers and Davidson 215.
Still have a possibility to win this event.
Mm-hmm. Have to make the spare first, and she does. Dee Davidson has done nothing but strike on the left-hand lane.
Well, Dee strikes out. Like you mentioned, they shoot 215, force Lewis and Street to spare. Force Darris, I should say, to get up and spare and get 9.
You keep wanting to say Lewis and Clark, don't you?
Yeah. Well, you know, I'm not familiar with their names either because they do not participate out here full-time.
A couple of good players from the state of California. Meanwhile, Dee Davidson has to fill out the 10th frame to have any chance whatsoever. And it doesn't happen. Boy, that's when the pressure is at its greatest. Dee bowled wonderfully and had an outside chance to force that talented twosome into the 10th frame, but now they're going to glide to that first victory.
It should be much easier now for them in the second match. Under the lights and wondering what to expect, and that's one reason that Darris could not sleep last night. But unfortunately, these two players will not be playing together next year, as we were talking about. The rule states that no 2 champions can bowl together. The only reason they are bowling together now is it was earlier this year that Jackie was did win the event.
Oh, I think it's a good rule.
Oh, it's definitely a good rule. With the amount of players we have on the national tour, it just gives everybody more of a chance and invites more players like Maria and Darris out to bowl with us. If I was an amateur at home and thought, I might have a chance, but I wouldn't think I'd have a chance if I had to go up against 2 champions all the time.
And of course, another team that will be affected by that rule will be Sue Neidig and Wendy Macpherson.
Exactly. Sue Neidig won the Hammett tournament earlier this year, and if those 2 players don't win this event, they'll have to search for new partners next year.
I think it's a nice touch, though. If you win, you get a chance to come back and defend your title.
Now, do you feel that that should be where you can defend your title only the next year? Do you think and
no,
have
I think
to break
just the
up
next year.
Versus they can stay on and on and on, like Stacy and Anne Marie now.
I think it should just be 1 year.
They can continue to bowl forever. I think it should just be 1 year.
Sure. Oh, look at this happy team here. Darris Street and Maria Lewis advance into game number 2. And they have to be feeling their oats a little bit.
Well, I know Darris is saying, thank you, Dee. I did not want to have to get up and spare and get 9.
5th place finish for Dee Davidson and Jackie Sellers as they wrap up the season. Cave-in strike this time for Darris Street, who is really starting to get loose and have some fun in the championship round. She was so nervous before this telecast started, she could barely sit still.
She works a lot on her physical game, Denny. She works with a coach. She does not work too much on her mental game, and that's her weak side.
Keep it simple. 237 to 203 as Maria Lewis and Darris Street capture game number 1 here at Samstown in the LPBT National Doubles. Maria Lewis We'll start on lane 19, game number 2 of the LPBT National Doubles. The 6th year for this tournament. No team has ever won twice, but our top seeds, Stacy Ryder and Anne-Marie Duggan, will try and become the first 2-time champions of this event. That's pretty unusual. She did not miss the pocket in game number 1, and that ball was out of play there.
Well, Denny, her timing was not good. She set the ball very short. The ball went left or right.
Right.
Looking at it from a left-handed point of view, her ball went right. Basically just pulled the shot. The little break there in the action.
Little extra concentration at the 7, and this time it's no problem.
And a nice smile, because I can tell you what was going through her head right there. Hopefully just positive thoughts.
Last night I didn't see her miss a 7-pin. One of the best ever. Donna Adamek.
Maria adding a little piece of tape. First shot, appeared that she dropped it, set it short.
Through the nose, not the way you want to start a championship round match.
It really appears on the right-hand side, Denny. The backhands are really breaking hard. This is what happened to Jackie Sellers in her opening shot. And yet, if you send it right, you do have that out of bounds. So, very critical line here for the right-handers to try to play.
To give it a run. Ooh, boy, you'd have thought the 7-pin would have left. Good try by Donna Adamek, and Sharon Todd now puts a quick piece of tape in, and she'll have to try and pick up the team here in frame number 2.
Sharon Todd, power player, slowed down her game a little bit, worked on trying to get a little bit more turn on the ball, a few more revolutions, a little more side roll. Has been working with Donna Adamek in that, so it has really helped her this year.
Real nice swing. Good, solid, fundamental game. Good shot.
Yeah.
And what a break that was out of nowhere as her husband looks on and approves of the trip of the 4-pin.
Husband Steve Todd paired with Sharon in our Gold Rush mixed doubles event. Steve shot 300, and this team finished 2nd. Picked up a nice little check. Check the pin action here.
That's what you like, too. A quick break in the championship round. Get you pumped up, get you loose.
A little extra time here by Darris.
That doesn't happen often. Man, oh man, look at this. Has she gotten some breaks in this championship round or what?
2 major breaks, Denny. This ball once again a little bit high. She leaves the 4-10, or back 4-6.
More than a little high.
6-pin comes over, flips out the 4. But see, that's the velocity,
sure.
Denny. You keep up that velocity, you're going to get those pins flying all around the deck. And that's where she's got a big advantage. She can throw the ball hard.
And a little softer shot. Not the same result for Maria Lewis. 2 teams left to go here. Final stop in 1992 on the Ladies Pro Bowlers Tour.
A 412 average for the team. Darris averaged 204. Maria Lewis averaged 207. So neither player really had to carry one or the other. They pretty much bowled the same.
It happens a lot of times that one player will get very hot, the other player won't have much, but the one player will just kind of lift them on the shoulders and carry them all the way to the finals.
Or they'll go from round to round. One player may bowl extremely well in the morning and carry the other player through that round, and then it may reverse itself in the evening blocks.
Well, I know one thing. On the men's tour, on the seniors tour, and of course here in the ladies tour, I think the players truly enjoy bowling the doubles.
Oh, definitely.
Now a double. Donna Adamek ends up with a strike, and that helps the cause. And I mentioned she's trying to become only the 3rd player to win 20 or more, and that's a very exclusive club.
Lisa Wagner got that 26th title here last year, along with Carolyn Doran. And they did not fare too well this year. They did not make the top 18.
I'll be back next season. For the 3-bagger. Ooh, and to the Brooklyn goes Sharon Todd. There's a wry little smile, and it's like turnabout is fair play. If Darris can carry, so can I.
Exactly. That ball breaking real early here. Whew, that was solid, Brooklyn.
Yeah, that wasn't even close. Darris Street going to get on her horse here in just a minute. You blink and she's gone. And after going high on a couple different shots, she makes the adjustment out the window for the washout.
The left-hander's playing around the second arrow. Denny, she appears she did not get good footwork. She's wiping off her shoe a little bit fast. Did not get the lift on the ball that time. Basically, her thumb popped out of the ball, was not able to get the rotation from the fingers.
Not enough to cover the washout, and so an open frame in the fourth for the team of Lewis and Street. And here's a look. Very interesting here, Leila, if you check this out. The top 4 teams were never out of the top 5.
Well, that's a wonderful way to start the event, too, Denny. It gives you that much more momentum. However, look at Jackie Sellers and Dee Dee Davidson starting way down in 23rd.
Got as low as 25th, qualified 16th, which is really at the bottom of the barrel. And they fought their way all the way back. Quality shot by Maria Lewis, but this time the 6-pin stands. Big difference between that first win and, of course, then you step up and we got rid of Jackie Sellers and Dee Dee Davidson. Now I get to stand up and look at, Donna Adamek. I mean, a Hall of Famer in everybody's Hall of Fame, and it just doesn't get any easier.
Well, I asked these two players if they felt, intimidated by them, and they said, well, as far as their television experience, yes, they have more of it, but we do play these players quite a bit out on the West Coast, so they are familiar with their games. They have won, and they're comparable.
One of the most focused and resourceful professional players I've had the opportunity to watch through the years. Donna Adamek always seems to be able to come up with whatever it takes to win.
She finished second here in 1989. A very disappointing loss for her and Michelle Mullen. They were the high qualifiers. They led that event by quite a few pins. Playing right around the 17th board, though. That ball not going out any farther than the 15th. It really appears the center lane between 15 and 20, meaning the 3rd and 4th arrow. There's a little bit of a dry streak in there.
In watching, especially last night, that better hook, and it does. It seemed for the right-handers anyway that if they set the ball a little short or got it a board or two left of their target, it went left immediately. If they sent it a board or two right, it would hang. So not the easiest condition in the world.
No, if a player moves in a little bit deeper, Denny, on that type of condition, they're going to get a little bit better ball reaction, only for the fact that they can swing out and hit that dry. Right now what they're doing is if they're swinging the ball out too far, it's going to hang on them. If they set it short, like you mentioned, it's going to go left. They need to get in a little bit deeper. You'll see that with Anne-Marie Duggan. They're going to be playing around the 17th board, in between that 3rd and 4th arrow.
Sharon Todd's ball is really reacting in the back end. You'd think that she would just try and move a little left, open the shoulders up, and give it some room. And that ball's hooking.
Exactly.
Hasn't been able to really get geared up. The first shot she threw in this match was very good. And then after that, she's kind of been out there in Wonderland. But as fair as good enough. And Sharon Todd and Donna Adamek have opened up a 22-pin lead. When we come back, the completion of match number 2 from Sam's Town.
You see Sharon Todd and Maria back there chit-chatting. That's unusual.
Kind of fun to see players conversing a little bit. Most of the time, it's nothing but a scowl or...
Exactly. Oh. Pin action here. Ball hit very light. She's able to keep 5 on the deck. Can't stress enough about that velocity, Denny.
And you get velocity by moving your feet. Most people think you just swing the ball harder. That's not the case. You got to make the big motor, which is your body, go faster.
Move back a little bit on the approach. Get those feet moving.
I mean, Darris swings it and runs, and the ball catches up with her body. You watch exactly the opposite here. Watch how methodical. See how slow the feet are? Ball speed is slow. Which on some conditions is not bad.
Well, that's right. When your lanes are a little bit tighter, a little bit more oil on the lanes, you want to do that. Maria's husband on hand. Been out this week, Steve. Like I mentioned, they left the kids at home, Marissa and Robbie.
Came out for a vacation, and boy, it's turned out to be a wonderful week. 12-pin match. Donna trying to get back into the pocket on lane 20. A little more swing on this shot. A light hit, and that's the problem. See, if you send it a little bit right, you've got the 2-4-5 and some company.
pair is also very different as the ladies cross the house. Very challenging condition for the players this week. Donna Adamek averaging 209. Sharon Todd averaging 208. Nice profile of Donna Adamek's game. 5-step approach.
On the championship round pair as a team, they averaged like 195.
Tough pair.
They were pretty much in the middle in terms of the finalists. Of course, the top seeds, Stacy Ryder and Anne-Marie Duggan, averaged 220 as a team on this pair of lanes.
Well, like I mentioned before, I think both of those players are going to get in a little bit deeper. This was the TV pair 2 years ago.
And Adamek says, well, it's not pretty, but we'll take it, and I'll get us an X in the 9th frame, and we'll be right back in the thick of this thing. Meanwhile, on a double, Darris Street steps up in the 8th.
A lot of pressure on her right now. Really has to keep it going because they are trailing by 8. This could put them in the lead by 2.
Light hit, trying to carry out the 10-pin. And she'll have a new nickname on the tour if this continues.
Denny, it's almost a replay of the last shot on lane 20 by Darris. Check this pin action here. The 9-pin just toppling the 10, and in the background we hear a baby crying, and wasn't sure if that was either going to get off her hand. Apparently Darris didn't hear it, though.
Was not distracted at all. Lewis and Street lead by 2, trying to make it a 12-pin advantage. Maria likes it, and oh, what a beautiful shot.
Boy, she can perform. I'm very impressed by her 9th frame exhibition here.
Donna Adamek knows now that the strike here is a must.
And really, both of these players, Donna and Sharon, have been all over the place.
Difference this week between the right-handed condition and I think the left-handed condition. More speed, tighter angle, about as good a shot as she could hope for, and Donna Adamek leaves the 10-pin. That's the other thing that we haven't discussed. When you do hit the pocket, the carry isn't the easiest from inside.
No, it is not. You've got a whole different angle. You're coming in from the left to the right versus playing more of an outside condition. You're coming in a much stronger angle. A 6-pin's able to kick at that 10 out much easier.
Sharon Todd with 3 strikes could post 213. See if she can get it to the right side of the head pin this trip. A 3-bagger in the 2nd, the 3rd, and the 4th, and then pretty much a drought after that.
And a couple of those Brooklyns thrown in there by Sharon really gave him that 3-bagger.
They haven't exactly labeled the pocket. Now this one should have plenty of room. See, this is my question. Her ball hooked. She had a great reaction. I don't think she opened up the lane enough.
No, probably not. Like I said, you just a little slow. That time she had a lot of speed. She opened up, gave it the room.
You know, I'll guarantee you that ball was 3 or 4 boards right of where the other shots were. The first shot she threw, she left a solid 4-pin. And then she was Brooklyn the next couple shots. Let's see if she swings it again.
Well, it's tough when you can't trust it, Danny, and she doesn't feel that she can trust it too much, so she tries to close up the shoulders. And that was a mistake. I mean, when she closed up the shoulders, so.
Well, not exactly what Mom was hoping for, but a good stretch run, nevertheless. I tell you what, I don't think she realized that she had as much room as she did.
Well, right now she is going to force the Darris Street to spare.
That was a key double in the 10th frame for Sharon Todd.
Almost the same scenario as we had last match with Dee Dee Davidson and Jackie Sellers.
See, look at this ball. She had a great reaction. I just think she found it way too late. But
actually, she threw the strikes, though. She may have not found it. She only missed striking one time.
And she left a solid 4-pin. That's something.
So she got away with a lot. Right here, needs 9 pins and a spare. You can see that. Count, very critical on, because she's riding on a double right now.
She's responded earlier. Oh, what a good shot there. That could have locked the match up if she strikes right there.
Boy, that was one of the best shots she has thrown. The last 2 attempts that she has made, she left all those light carried, five on the deck, and she just crunched it.
See, that's what you like to see, a player now put in that position. That was Stuff City there. I mean, she throttled that shot right to the pocket. That's a big sign.
Denny, she must spare and strike, or we have a possible tie if she spares in 9.
Good crisp shot at the 7 pin. A little tippy toe back to the ball return. Maria says, all right, Pards, one time, need an X here, and we'll just saunter on into the semifinal game.
That was a tough 7 pin to shoot at, Denny. She misses it, they're done. Right now, she strikes, they go on. 9 pins, they tie.
Well, how many times has Donna Adamek been in that position? Sharon Todd is hoping, trying to win her first title.
A little bit slower. And oh my.
What a great shot. So the team of Lewis and Street come through in the clutch, and they knock off Sharon Todd and Donna Adamek.
She took her time, Denny. That's what she needed to do. Her mistakes before, she was too fast. Check the shot out. Perfect trip 6 pin. And this is her reaction. She thought it went a little high, but it was like, yes.
A rocket to the pocket. And Maria said, yeah, I know you got it all the way. Just trip it out. We'll be back with the semifinal game right after these messages. Welcome back to Sam's Town in Las Vegas, where there are only 3 teams left. Neidig, who won earlier this year, will open up on the left-hand lane. And then again, we have another lefty-righty team here in Neidig and Wendy Macpherson.
Sue feeling much, much more calm as she's making more frequent appearances on the telecast. I remember her skirt used to shake.
She has really blossomed here in the last year or so, bowled just beautifully out in California, winning her first title. Kind of a deceptive player, you know. Doesn't throw a lot of speed, a lot of ball, but she's always around the pocket, good spare shooter.
We really started out as a part-time player out here. Now with a little bit more success, we're seeing her week in and week out, and that makes a big difference too, Denny. When you're out here every week, you get that mental advantage versus coming out here and popping in for a tournament here and there.
Tour toughness, competing against the best players in the world every week, that'll sharpen your game.
See, they're averaging 225.
Kind of picked up the pace. Out and swinging in the opening frame. That was a bullet that never even thought about getting to the head pin.
Once again, a little too fast. That's the mistakes that she can make. She gets a little too quick with those feet. The swing is not in time. Sails to the left.
Wonder if the lanes are changing at all at this point in time. Would they be getting tighter?
Well, they should be seeing some carry down, Denny, something that they're not used to seeing because of the amount of play by a left-hander on the left-handed side. The lanes could tighten up for them a little bit. Their carry might not be as great, but they are getting away with a lot of, light hits. So we haven't seen that many solid 7s, only 2 to 3 in 2 games.
The ups and downs of team bowling this week. There were some very high scores and some pretty low scores.
I was talking with our producer, George Smith, earlier, Denny, and we were talking about the record for the lowest television game. Unfortunately, my partner, Paula Drake, and I are holding that record. I think it's 157.
Happened in 1987 right here.
Right here. The first national doubles event. I said, what a record to hold. The lowest television game.
Somebody has to hold it. You've got some records on the high side. Come on. Paula does.
Paula does. Right.
Past the pocket for Wendy Macpherson, who might end up buying stock here in Sam's Town before her career is all said and done.
Well, she recently moved here to Las Vegas, Denny. She does practice in this bowling center quite often now. It has to make her feel more comfortable here. Her husband, Nick, works here. So, she's got the hometown advantage.
Just had a lot of success in this bowling center through the years. Won here in 1990.
Well, the women always joke when they do so well in a center to move to that town, but Wendy took it seriously.
Yeah. $11,000 split by our LPBT national doubles champions here tonight. And of course you get the silver cup as well.
I like the money bags that are sitting off to the right over there.
Do you?
Full of cash.
They give it to you in that hard currency exchange so you can go upstairs and play a little bit.
That's right.
And John Neidig looks on as Sue strikes in the third. Now we'll find out next time if Wendy can double up. That's exactly the position that Darris is in at this point in time. A strike here gives them a 12-pin advantage.
Darris' highest finish. She did hit some of the California events when we were out there earlier this year. Finished 10th in Santa Maria.
Well, it's either a little trouble with the approach or indeed we have seen some more carry down. That ball speed is a little hot and she's having a hard time getting the ball to react.
I think she's slipping a little bit, Denny, and not able to plant and get that leverage because she keeps wiping off her shoe. She keeps rubbing it on the approach. Apparently, if she is slipping, what's happening then is she's getting to the line, not able to stay down as far as the knee bend goes. She's losing the ball off her thumb.
Well, when you don't stay down, you can't create the leverage, which gives you the lift and the turn. So that's why the ball maybe is not reacting as well as it had in the first couple of games. Very close match here. Keep in mind our top seeds, Anne-Marie Duggan and Stacy Ryder, are waiting anxiously to try and win their second doubles in 3 tries.
Maria looking very calm. You can see the concentration in her eyes.
Another light hit, this time the 7-pin stands tall. This one has settled into more of a grind-out type game, hasn't it?
Well, it seems that the pace has slowed down quite a bit. I think it will pick up if we see a few more strikes thrown. You get more reserved for players like Sue Neidig and Wendy Macpherson down there versus other doubles teams in the past have been more animated. I think it keeps everything more alive.
Second time that Maria has missed a 7-pin. This time she misses it left.
Well, she has to know, remember when she missed it to the right, she's switching balls to shoot at it. It goes in the channel. Very disappointing.
Unforced error. Wendy Macpherson trying to double and make it a 20-pin lead. Oh, look at that overreaction. Got it a little left, and now she is left with the baby split.
About 10 feet right in front of the head pin, Denny. You can just see the ball taking a left turn. It needs to really put on its blinker. Has to move left. Has to get inside of that dry area. One thing I was always taught, keep that dry area to the right.
More speed and fits in like a glove. Quality shot there by Wendy Macpherson.
And Wendy's father, Chris, had been on hand all week, had to go home. I know he's feeling terrible about missing the event. He's usually here for the telecast.
A 10-pin lead for Neidig and Macpherson in the 5th frame. Winner of this game goes on to the championship. Ooh, good shot by Sue Neidig, who is settled in now on the left-hand lane. If Wendy could figure out the right-hand lane, this would be a tough team to beat.
Right now, looking to try to find the right footwork. Darris is, you can see that look of concern in her eyebrows. She's almost scowling like, what's going to happen this time?
You know, a fear of the unknown. If she slides, she loses leverage. If she sticks, she's got other problems. Well, you can see her fighting it a little bit, but she hung on to it that time and stayed down.
I'd like to clock her ball speed.
I guarantee it's 18, 19 miles an hour.
She throws it hard, doesn't she? Maria, besides bowling, enjoys golf. something sport for you there, Denny.
There you go. I'm out in Southern California. We'll play sometime. She went from a bogey to a birdie on that shot. Darris is saying, yes, it'll look like it was just right in the center of the old pocket when we watch it the second time around. Even match here. Don't go away. Wendy Macpherson, an even match in the 6th frame and looking to take a 10-pin lead.
For the double. Beautiful shot.
Sweet. Our vantage point. And that one looked pretty good from here. It probably looked even better to Wendy when she was right down at the foul line. Huh?
And it looks better on the scoreboard as Neidig is going to try to make it a turkey, increase the lead by 20, put the pressure on Lewis and Street.
Well, you love to see, like, Wendy Macpherson hasn't really got a great shot in that lane. All of a sudden, she has a chance to give her team a 10-pin lead. And man, what a great shot that was.
It's a nice feeling, Denny. I know that there's a lot of pressure on you, too, not only to perform for yourself, but you want to perform for your partner. And sometimes, you know, we talk about how easy it is, and it's easier to be down there bowling with a doubles partner. But I can attest to the fact that it can be a little bit more difficult, too, because you do not want to let your partner down.
6-pin left for Neidig. After a nice shot on the left-hand lane that just wouldn't carry. She seems to be zeroed in on 19 now. She's done nothing but hit the pocket.
Staying clean. Watch this. Perfect. Head pin up against the wall. Hits the 10. Is unable to take out the 6.
Well, look at the 6. It was nicked and it never moved. Look at that. See it wiggle?
Flat bottom. And taking a look at Maria's shoes. Stump, huh? Not sure what the other one says. Oh, Denny, they're destined to win. I gotta say it.
The other side. Look at this. Darris Street with a major league break as she trips out the 6.
You've got to get the breaks, Denny. They've carried the light hits. They've carried the high hits. This one, wow, the pin off the wall, trips out the 6.
And you might mention they've carried the nose hits,
and
too.
they've carried the nose hits.
They've been on the schnoz a couple of times and come away with strikes.
You know, it reminds me a lot of when Debbie Bennett won here a couple of years ago in a singles event. You know, a fine player, and she carried a lot of light hits off the walls. And when things are going your way, they just go your way. That team's going to be tough to break. Or beat. Tough to beat.
A 4-bagger from the 5th through the 8th. They lead by 11, and all Wendy Macpherson can do is kind of smile and think to herself, some days you get the breaks and other days you don't.
Wendy knows that. Winning here 2 years ago in the singles event.
A strike to get back on track, and she does. What a great shot now for Neidig. There's still plenty of bowling left here if she can strike in the 9th frame.
A big frame there in the 7th. That solid 6-pin, or they would have still kept the lead.
In the 7th frame, she threw a beautiful shot, left the 6-pin, and then, of course, Darris, on the other hand, threw a little high, got away with it.
That's right.
Most important shot now, though, just get a strike in the 9th and worry about the other team.
All our matches have gone right down to the 10th frame.
That last game was a dandy. Needs to hurry. Wall shot. How close? Inches, half inches, the difference between a strike there and 9.
Says, okay, come on. I went a little high, left that 6-pin, maybe a little bit of adjustment, coming up a little light. Where's my break?
That's exactly what you're saying, too. You know that. Luck has such a part in all of this. Neidig is saying, man, I just threw 2 of the best shots I could throw and came back with 9 spare, 9 spare.
Meanwhile, Darris up again on lane 20. But Denny, I also know a nice saying, you make your breaks, and that's what these players are doing right now, making their breaks.
Well, they're taking advantage. Another strike here gives them a lead of 21, and maybe an insurmountable lead before it's all over.
One more.
Boy, is this team rising to the challenge or what? Meanwhile, Stacy Ryder and Anne-Marie Duggan have to be thinking, hey, this team's averaging 225 on this pair of lanes, and they're liable to shoot 240 this game.
And they're warm. And Stacy and Anne-Marie are going to be a little bit colder. They're going to get their allotted practice balls.
But it will be for a title.
That's right.
Trust me, it changes.
Well, we had already seen the pace start to slow down here in the semi, but now it's picked back up.
Loose arm swings create good carry, and that's what Lewis and Street have done. A couple more, and it's a 2:48 game, and they are waltzing right in to the final match.
If those arm swings tighten up, that hand grips the ball a little bit more, you tend to leave a few more pins like the 7s.
Boy, this is opposite ends of the spectrum. We've got 2 players, part-time players, first time ever in the championship round. And then you take a look at Anne-Marie Duggan and Stacy Ryder, 2 very, very competent tour veteran players. And a third-place finish for Sue Neidig and Wendy Macpherson here at Sam's Town in Las Vegas. When we come back, just 2 teams left vying for the LPBT National Doubles title. Final 2 teams. Stacy Ryder will open up on the left-hand lane. And after watching the practice shots, I know this sounds kind of crazy, but I think the lefties have a pretty good chance.
I think so, Denny, but remember we talked about the tight arm swings, and look at this. Stacy Ryder opens up. She says, okay, I'll take a break. Now they cannot say that the other team got all the breaks.
Stacy with a Brooklyn to open things up. Darris Street has carried everything in Las Vegas up to this point.
Well, her luck has been running, because I asked Maria how they doing in gambling, and she said, yeah, Darris everything she touched turns to gold. There you have it.
When you got it going, just keep it going.
Oh, look at this.
What did I tell you? 6-pin goes down again. I mean, this has been a variety of carrying here in this championship round.
I want her secret to tripping that 6 out like that.
I mean, Billy Hardwick and Pete Toddis would sell their souls to trip out like that. Whew. She's done it every which way. What's left?
We'll have to wait and see. We've got 9 frames, and she has 4 more of them.
You're not kidding. Maria looking to open up with a double, and...
Oh, look at this, Denny. Oh, fast track. No.
A little bit late.
I almost thought it was going to go. Coming up high there.
All right. Oh, look at this. Out for a week's vacation, staying at the Mirage. My top 2 fans, Mom and Dad, here in Las Vegas. And the good news is they still have their shirts on their backs.
Well, I had to laugh because we were talking earlier, and they say they do not have too much of an opportunity to watch you live. They usually know where you are by catching you on a telecast here and there. And they told me to tell you you're putting on some weight, Denny.
Okay. I appreciate that. Just shows that I'm healthy. Now, see, I wouldn't say the same thing about you. Well, I could, but I guess I won't.
Thank you.
I would never do that.
Yeah, but I'm losing weight.
Anne-Marie Duggan, one of the top players on the tour, trying to get things started on the right-hand lane. That's a Brooklyn shot. Boy, what a difference.
Pat Duggan looks on as you notice that team player here, the day and age of women and politics, all that good stuff. He's conforming to the women's movement. Says, I'm going to wear what you guys wear.
Trying to be a team player.
That's right.
Either that or he's trying to dice in on the incentive money.
There you go. Or there were free shirts given away this week, right?
See, there are a number of possibilities. And I can breathe a sigh of relief. No one has ever missed the 5-pin in the championship round, as Anne-Marie's dad looks on rather stoically, waiting for something good to happen, I think.
Well, so far, a strike and a spare for this team. Stacy going Brooklyn.
Match is all even, and all of a sudden it gets quiet. See, when the title match is on the line.
You heard Anne-Marie yelling carry. Pretty good shot there. Tough angle to come in at. Playing real deep. Looked like around the 4th arrow.
All the folks are here this evening, watching. Got to be tough.
Well, we've got the husbands sitting next to one another down there. Hope we.
Yeah.
Pat Duggan and Darris's husband.
Stacy Ryder missing the 4-pin. Oh, Stacy, you don't want to do that.
catching that dry area in the lane. The ball hooking right there in the center. Watch the ball hook to the left. Big error right there by Stacy Ryder. Really opens up the door for Darris.
It's one thing if you get beat. It's another if you beat yourself. Ahead by 12. And a light hit. Haven't seen much of that.
Well, we've seen her light hits carry. When she does get a little bit light, usually she's very much out of time, very quick with feet.
Ahead by 9 if she converts the spare.
Difficult spare here. She's got that sleeper pin behind. She's got the 9 pin sitting right behind the 3 pin. Cover all of them. She does.
369 disappears. Beautiful spare shot there.
They really have not had to shoot it too much. We've seen a couple 7 pins, a washout.
Trying to do something that is nearly impossible to do out here, and that's win 4 matches in the championship round. It's tough enough in singles, probably even tougher in doubles. Of course, the good news is you get to spend all night on the same lane.
That's right, and we talked about that in our opening. Really getting locked into that lane. Don't have to worry about which one's changing faster than the other, which one's hooking more.
Light hit, 3 pin left.
A couple more light hits, Denny. Like I mentioned, the conditioner could be carrying down. They've bowled 4 games now. It's got to be changing. They're not going to get that break in the back end that they got earlier in the first match.
Well, she hung up in that shot and also stuck as well. So after a couple of problems, was still able to make the spare.
Maria's husband looking on.
And Marie Duggan now in the 4th frame, trying to stay loose, make something good happen.
Really working on her mental game. She had mentioned traveling to the Olympic Training Center.
Beautiful shot for Anne-Marie. Now it's up to Stacy Ryder to make amends. You never miss 1-pin spares in the championship round.
Never say never.
Yeah. Costly mistake. Let's see if she can right herself. A double here gives them the lead by 2.
Started bowling at age 6, very young. Father Daryl is very instrumental in her career, coaches her quite a bit. Her high finish so far this year, 5th at the Robbie's Open in Alexandria.
Player with a great deal of potential. As you mentioned in the interview, 0-7 in singles competition in the championship round. She does have a title, but that came here in 1990 when she paired up with Anne-Marie.
Cannot seem to break through on and win a match on television.
So many times it's not so much a physical thing, but it's more mental. More and more players going to sports psychologists to try and unlock the keys to going out there and relaxing and performing at your peak.
Well, she's thrown a lot of good matches on television, too.
She's bowled well and lost.
Right, she's been beat. This is tonight's 23 strikes through 34 frames.
Pretty good percentage, 75%. Well, maybe not quite that much. They've thrown plenty of strikes.
Yes, they have.
And Darris is looking for another one. That one was packed central. That ball was coming, and it was nowhere but in the pocket.
Up by 8, on their way to their first title.
Now, if Maria Lewis and Darris Street are going to win, this is the key shot. Here's the hammer shot right now.
They can up their lead by 18 with a strike right here. Really apply the pressure.
Ooh, that was a good shot. Anne-Marie and Stacey are going, phew. Boy, I'm glad she didn't double there.
You know, you can just hear the difference in the pins and what the ball speed really does, Denny. That, you know, the ball seems to hit so much weaker. Maria's ball is just hitting so much weaker. The 4-pin just lying in the channel. But this is her game. This is the finesse game. So when that conditioner carries down, she's unable to get that back end rotation.
And a problem with the approach. That ball was in the channel at 40 feet. Anne-Marie Duggan was up off the bench about a quarter of a second after that ball went into the channel. Instead of a comfortable lead, now it's a 4-pin match.
Giving the lead right on over to Anne-Marie and Stacy. See if she can capitalize on anything, and she says, okay. Well, she said that was ugly.
Anne-Marie trying to hide from the fact that that was a nose dive strike, but I'll guarantee you one thing, if Stacy X's here, she'll be jumping for joy.
Big key, capitalize on that break right here in the 7th frame. They can up their lead by 14. What a turnaround this has been now.
In deep, and no payoff for Stacy Ryder.
It really does not appear that she's getting the ball out to the right, Denny. It almost appears that she's dropping the shot, not quite opening up enough with her shoulders. As we mentioned, Todd didn't do until the 10th frame. Very closed shouldered at the line. Now she's playing deep there, the 20th board, but if you don't open up your shoulders, you're not going to be able to send the ball to the right.
A spare here keeps the lead at 4. And one of the younger fans in the bowling center reacting at the wrong time.
And he has chosen to leave the bowling center.
Voicing his opinion, and Dad says, no, not here. Stacy wisely backed off and will reset at the 3-pin.
Very smart move for Stacy to come back. Nothing like a little distraction, a little vocal cheering at the wrong time.
At least it was at the spare and not at a strike shot.
That's right. Or farther into her approach where you cannot stop.
Happens every so often. The unpredictability of the championship round. This pair has just torn up lanes 19 and 20, but all of a sudden the scores come plummeting here in the title match. The bucket on lane 20, and this is not an easy spare.
Well, she shot at the 369 earlier. She now needs to pick up the 3569. Maria looking on, going just to cover it.
A gritty shot from Darris Street. Kind of backhanded the bucket. And now it's up to Maria here in the 8th frame. 4-pin match.
Maria's talking to herself about that 7-pin, and that's something that you don't see the veterans doing. They just are trying to forget about that, but she's just saying to herself, if I wouldn't have missed that last time, we'd have the match in hand.
Those are her only opens, the 7 pins. Now she's got the 7-pin with company in the 9, and this one has flipped around in one shot.
And Darris says, just get one. First split we've seen this pair leave, and it was a pocket split. The ball deflecting the 5-pin right in front of the 9-pin.
Ball went dead left. That hurts.
They bowled so well throughout the night, and momentum was really going their way. They now trailed by 17 pins.
Oh, so close. Another half an inch, and that's a strike. Anne-Marie with a little more room. This one comes up high, and Anne-Marie will settle thankfully for just the 10-pin with no company. Strikes are hard to come by.
They sure are so far. I don't know how many we've really seen by right-handers, Denny, but it has been very far and few between.
Of course, for Anne-Marie Duggan and Stacy Ryder, Anne-Marie will finish in the 10th frame. Stacy up in the 9th, and she would love to help the team and get a strike here in the 9th frame, the foundation frame.
Working at a 187 pace. They strike spare. They'd still force Lewis and Street to catch a turkey. That's a lot of strikes.
You know, 4-bagger would give them 191. Stacy Ryder with 1 strike in this match, and it was a Brooklyn.
Perfect shot.
Ah, that's what you like to see. Performing in the clutch, which is exactly what she did.
Opening up a little bit more, sending that ball to the right, hooks nicely into the pocket. And this is her reaction. Yes, it's the 9th frame. This is where we needed it. Right now, Darris and Maria, they strike out, shoot 191. They force the Ryder-Duggan team to get a strike.
Well, that's left all the way. Feet got fast. And for Darris Street and Maria Lewis, a 2nd place finish. Looks like that's going to happen this week. Boy, this is almost the consummate dream come true. A couple of players that have done well here in singles competition just once, paired up and get all the way to the title match. It's a long climb up the mountain.
Right now, though, if Darris can pick this up, which she does, they can still shoot 181, Denny. They force Anne-Marie Duggan to mark.
Which is the name of the game.
That's right.
Make your opponent show up in the 10th.
So if Maria can put 3 together right here.
Little self-talk going on right now. Maria felt like she threw a pretty good shot in the 8th frame, but you see the donut, that was the 7-9 split. Little wider arc, and she misses the head pin, and that's what pressure is all about.
Well, that's the difference, and also changing with the lanes, Denny. They've had to make some adjustments, possibly didn't make them fast enough. The bad break in the 8th for them. It really appeared that Darris had problems with the approach on lane 20.
Strike now in a game of 169. And if you're Street and Lewis, and you go back and watch this one, you'll say to yourself, boy, we had it right where we wanted it, and it just didn't happen in the championship game. Nothing went right.
Well, I'm sure they'll be back next year, and as will Anne-Marie Duggan and Stacy Ryder, the only 2-time national doubles champion. Either they win or they're not there at all, right? Well, if they go like a yo-yo, they won't be there next year, so just don't bowl 2 years from now, right?
This is the way you like to win a title, too. More importantly now for Anne-Marie, another victory. Bowler of the Year race. Comes in the last tournament of the year. Yeah, there's the trip of the 4. Anne-Marie Duggan, Stacy Ryder have won 2 out of 3 here at Samstown, the first team ever to win twice in the doubles.